From the New York Post, New York City's poorest zip codes forced to bear brunt of migrant crisis. Confidential docs reveal. So yeah, it's just a migrant crisis. It has nothing to do with criminal illegals.
A homeowner in the Bronx started renting a basement apartment to a woman who was from Ecuador. But then within a matter of 2 weeks, the woman told the landlord, listen, I'm going back. I'm leaving. My brother is gonna take over the apartment. And he said, okay, can you please have your brother fill out the paperwork and include some IDs and send this all to me? That never happened, according to the landlord. In the end, the landlord told me that he believed he was just scammed. They used this woman to get them in there, and once one of them was in there, it became like a clubhouse for 8 or 9 of the most dangerous people the landlord had ever been introduced to. They were selling ketamine, cocaine, marijuana, and handguns out of this basement.
And we certainly don't have enough time to get into the specifics of the laundry list of terrible things these people are doing on top of breaking into the country. And as far as the poorest zip codes are concerned, yeah, I mean, they weren't going to put illegals on Billionaires Row, even though they did ask.
Volunteer advocates argue the city should put these migrants in some of the most expensive pieces of real estate in the world.
He could have easily, along with Governor Hochul, opened up all the vacant luxury apartments. We are on 57th Street right now. This is Billionaires Row.
And it's largely abandoned. They're not going to put illegals in the Upper West Side where Jerry Seinfeld used to live. They're going to put illegals, their new favorite downtrodden group, where they once held their former favorite downtrodden group. But my name's Eric. This channel is called Report and Opine. Please like, comment, share, subscribe. Hit that notification bell. I'm absolutely begging you.
I'm begging you, please. Come on, please.
It would help me a lot, and it would cost you nothing. But if you wanted to help me even more and spend some money, you would buy my book, New York City 2020, Gotham Unglued. That link will be in the description. They say some of the Big Apple's poorest zip codes are being forced to bear the greatest brunt of the city's migrant crisis, including a Queens neighborhood saddled with more shelters than any other part of the 5 boroughs. Internal data kept from the public but obtained by the Post reveal. So everybody knows this. We can quite literally see it, but for some strange reason, they're still trying to keep it out of public sight. Long Island is home to a staggering 23 government-run migrant shelters, 12% of the 193 operating in New York City, according to data tallied off a confidential list of shelter sites used by agencies. And for the millionth time, I tried to go to one of the main sites, right? There's 2 main ones, the Roosevelt and the Row. And when I went to the Row Hotel, they naturally said, you can't come here. You don't belong here. ID? No, was...
You got your... No, I'm talking to someone. You got your ID?
No, I don't have my ID.
All right, there's a shelter. You need to have an ID.
Oh, you can't record in here, please.
Why not?
You can't record in here.
Why?
You're not allowed to record in here. He's recording. You cannot record in here.
What are you doing?
You cannot record in here, brother. Please go.
Why?
You have to get out.
Why not?
You don't belong in here.
Why?
That's right. Please get out.
So who belongs in here?
Not you.
And I guess the irony is lost on them. The city dropped a bomb on us, said Queensbridge House's resident Danny Beauford, whose 11101 zip code includes a 24th shelter in neighboring Astoria. The migrants are taking over. Yeah, they're taking over all the parking with their 8,000 scooters. They're disrespectful. absolutely true. 3 of the top 5 most shelter-saturated zip codes, which cover parts of the Jamaica, Queens, and East New York, Brooklyn, are among the poorest areas in New York City, which is still, I can almost bet, light years ahead of the average American city, with median incomes below $37,000, which, I mean, is nothing. It's impossible. You can't live in New York on $37,000. A post-analysis of an internal list of active shelters used by city agencies as of June 25th also found Queens is home to 70 or 36% of the 193 shelters that currently host 65,300 migrants under city care. And for the record, why? They're asylum seekers. They need help. They need shelter. Why did they just decide they needed that in 2021? And where are all the stories of the horrible things they're fleeing? Where is that? Right? You have to read AP Venezuela or AP Honduras to find out what it is they're actually fleeing, or are they just coming here to take what people already have? And they're quite literally doing that. They're sleeping in schools. They're squatting on soccer fields. They're squatting in houses. They're completely taken over, as this guy states a couple lines earlier. Jamaica is not too far behind Long Island City. There's 13 shelters in the 11435 zip code that includes Jamaica and neighboring Briarwood, and another 7 in the 11434 sections of Jamaica. Manhattan's 10036 zip code, which covers Midtown West, is home to 8 shelters. 11207 in East New York has 6, and the 10467 Williamsbridge in the Bronx, 12206 parts of Bushwick and Williamsburg in Brooklyn, and 11212 Brownsville, Brooklyn, each have 5. Mayor Eric Adams' office on Saturday told the Post the number of shelters is now up to 217, but declined to reveal the additional locations. So it was from 193, I believe, to 217. This is absolutely astronomical. They're letting these people run roughshod. It doesn't matter, right? I think it was 193, but now Eric Adams says that there's even more than that. The LIC, or Long Island City, the divide is especially stark where the nearly 24 shelters are clustered around 2 public housing projects. Yet, that's literally what I said. That's quite literally what I said. They were going to put these people in the areas where they used to house their formerly favorite downtrodden group. Yet the adjacent 11109 zip code in LIC is a skyscraper-filled community that offers spectacular waterfront views of Manhattan skyline and has among the city's priciest real estate. Doesn't have a single shelter. Oh, well, that's interesting. Why is that? And here's some graphics. It's a little bit tough to read, but Brooklyn, Queens. Yeah, they got all. Oh, there's one. Why are y'all sending them here? Well, and there's videos. There's enough videos on the internet to go around of people pretending that they love all the quote-unquote immigrants.
I believe we should open the border.
Yeah.
What do you think of all these MAGA Republicans that are saying, close the border?
No, I don't agree with the MAGA position on just about anything.
And it doesn't scare you if we open the border, maybe some illegal people could come in that maybe they're traffickers?
I don't buy that. Immigrants flowing into the United States is a net benefit for the economy.
All right, because we have Juan here who he needs a home.
Mi casa.
Yeah. So all we're asking for, sir, is like if you could house him for a minimum of 3 months.
No, I'm not going to house anybody. I don't.
Wait.
No, he
He's a good guy and he's a hard worker. I swear.
Don't doubt it. I have a very small place. No, I live alone and I.
But sir, here's my question: if we're going to open the border and you're not willing to provide,
casa.
Yeah. He said yeah.
No.
He said what?
Oh
No.
It's opposite day, so it means yes.
Sí o no?
Anyway, I'll say good evening.
No,
Sir, can we at least agree that you don't actually believe in an open border?
Not in that sense, no.
But they're not going to house them. They're not going to take one in. They're not going to even let one use the bathroom, because as soon as you let one in your house, they're never going to leave, right? That's a completely different scam. But yeah, are you just now realizing that they're trying to take advantage of you? Some more. Everybody loves a cute infographic, as if we needed proof that the illegals were quite literally taking over New York City. Besides Queensbridge, This part of LIC is home to another 4,000 public housing tenants at the nearby Ravenswood houses. Residents of both New York City Housing Authority developments say they're located so close to LIC's mega cluster of shelters that low-income NYCHA tenants typically find themselves competing with migrants for crucial services provided by the city and nonprofits. Yes, and this reminds us of the holidays when the migrants and the, poor residents of Brooklyn were fighting over turkeys.
The meal is a treat and a precious commodity in the Long Island City community, where 6,000 NYCHA residents and 8,000 migrants are competing for free hot meals. It's a tension that goes both ways. Mercedes, a Nicaraguan mother who, with her husband, brought their 6 young children to the country 4 months ago, says she's aware some people in the community are more supportive than others, but they're hungry. Councilmember Julie Wan says she's had to step in after a fight between members of the two groups at a food pantry got out of hand, sending one person to the hospital.
But that's what's happening. Look, this is going to go on and on as if we didn't know that the illegals are taking over New York and they're being led by the corrupt political regime, which obviously they eventually would like to have voting. But then you got this. Former New York City Rite Aid is now overrun by booze-swilling vagrants, zonked-out junkies. It's preposterous, they say. A former Rite Aid in Queens has been transformed into a nightmare out of Mad Max, overrun by booze-swilling hobos, zonked-out junkies, and migrants who transformed the forlorn spot into their own dystopian social club. The mostly middle-aged derelicts laid claim to the 25,000 square foot Astoria plot. So yeah, Queens is really down bad right now. And Queens, they're running roughshod. They have the hookers all over, I think it's called Lover's Lane or something. They gave it some cute little nickname where it's just Venezuelan hookers all over the place. Queens is down bad. I mean, it almost seems like they're doing worse than Brooklyn right now, but that's not the point. 7 months ago, neighbors say planting Mexican, American, and Puerto Rican flags atop the vacant building's roof and furnishing with sofas, tables, chairs, and foam mattresses. They've since turned the site into a blight, dangling bizarre items from the roof's edge. Yeah, this looks like San Francisco. These people, there's a bra. There's a G. I mean, this is absolutely crazy. Everything from bras and bicycles. Yeah, so the illegals are taking over. There's migrant shelters everywhere that New Yorkers or possibly Americans all over the place are quite literally paying for. And I can only assume that the political regime is getting a bunch of that money and throwing some nickels, some pennies, some dimes down to the illegals, or maybe, they're giving them these prepaid debit cards or whatever. None of it really makes sense because either way you slice it, it's completely despicable. So migrants taking over in the form of shelters, housing, government-funded, taxpayer-funded housing for criminal illegals, and then you have the takeover of a former Rite Aid by junkies and probably some migrants, right? I mean, they're going to eventually pair up together and do this weird, like, we live on the fringes, man, and take over. But there's one more. Again, from the New York Post, junkies take over New York City block near office of Democrat who applauds woke harm reduction policies. So this lady apparently is all in for harm reduction and needle exchanges. And of course, she, just like the politicians in California, are living through their terrible policies. A junkie horde has taken over an East Harlem block, brazenly shooting up and terrorizing businesses right under the nose of a lefty city councilwoman who has cheered on woke harm reduction policies. This week, the Post observed a half dozen, which actually doesn't sound like that many, strung out addicts shooting up less than 250 feet from City Council Diana Ayala, whatever, her 116th Street office, with one woman shoving a needle into her neck as a young mother rushed past her 2 young children. And they got this lady, I mean, in mid shooting, like, That's crazy. I don't even know how that happens. Shout out to these post photographers. My son should not see that. It's traumatizing. East Harlem resident Donald Scott, 59, told the Post, adding that his 16-year-old child have repeatedly stepped over dead bodies across their neighborhood. So no matter how you slice it, the vagrants, the junkies, and the illegals are quite literally taking over New York with the help of women like this, who I truly do not know if she is just stupid and can't put the pieces together, or if there's something far more sinister with these type of politicians.